Dr. Jonathan Tripp joining us in studio this morning. Been a while since he's come up in the rotation. Uh, First of all, welcome back.
Thank you.
We wanted to mention, of course, Tripp Family Medicine is located in Twin Falls on Fillmore Street, directly across from the main post office. That would be on the north side of Fillmore Street. In fact, if you're coming up Pole Line Road from, let's say, the Filer direction, you'd hang the right turn and head down the street. Then you'll see the office on the right across from the post office. We also wanted to mention you're on Facebook. There's a number of ways to contact you.
Yeah, our office, you can always contact for sure by telephone. That's probably the best way to get an appointment. It's 208 933 4400, 208 933 4400. We're on our website is trippfamilymedicine.com, and we're on Facebook at Tripp Family Medicine. So any of those are good ways to let us know what you're thinking, and we have some fun things that show up there from time to time that are just random people saying thanks for good care and good experience. And probably the biggest thing about our office is you feel like you belong. It does not feel like a medical office. It is clean, but it is not sterile from the point of view of how you feel while you're there. So from seeing little kids to grandma and grandpa, those are all good things. In fact, today we're going to talk about something almost as near to my heart as seeing little kids and teenagers, which is my favorite thing in the office to do. I have a lot of fun. That's my playtime. But today we're going to talk about cleanup cosmetics because up until now, at our location here in Twin Falls, we have been doing an underground cosmetic program that only people that know about it know about it. We really haven't advertised it hardly at all. And we're going to do a kickoff. It's called a Peel Party, which is next week, next Wednesday. It's actually from 3 to 6. It is by appointment only, and it costs money to get in. It's $100, and we're almost full already. We This is just a kickoff so that people can see what we're doing and see what the opportunities are. But this is part of my background. I spent 5 years in the Phoenix area only doing cosmetics, and we're not talking about facelifts and major surgeries. We're talking about cleanup stuff
Been
that
a lot of
that
people down
works.
there. Must have had skin damage being it's so sunny.
Oh yeah. Well, we think they're the worst. Well, welcome to Idaho, because we may be inside most of the winter, but we make up for it during the summer. And people don't wear sunblock. And they think, well, I'm only out a little while, and then they're burned, and then they do it again a week later, and then I'm burned, and so the repeated burns add up. But you're right. Sunbathers and sun worshippers in Arizona make easy targets for skin cancers and other needs for cleanup.
When it comes to this too, and I brought this up with one of your colleagues a couple of weeks ago. Now I've got a couple of old chickenpox scars on my forehead and maybe a couple of other blemishes. Uh, Being a men probably don't think about it nearly as much, but we could be good candidates for it just as much as women.
No, in fact, it is true. Predominantly women, but we have lots of men that do some peels if they care. Because a lot of guys get to the point they say, "Oh, my skin is just going to be leathery, or it's just going to have these issues. I don't really care." But when they find out they really can change that over about a 6 week to 6 month period, just and nobody else knows you're even doing it, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more interesting. It's knowing that there's something you can do and not at horrendous cost that I think makes a difference for a lot of people. But you know why you'd want to do chemical peels are only one thing we do, but we do various different. There's a variety of kinds of peels for different reasons. But to give you an overview of the chemical peels we do, almost none of them cause any actual peeling. So this is not the kind of thing you have to go home and hide from the neighbors for 2 weeks, or you can't go to work. In fact, we have women that come in lunchtime, do a peel, go back to work. Nobody even knows they're doing it. They look like they're a little bit pinker, like maybe they exercised or they've been outside in the sun a little bit. But unless you tell people you're doing this, uh, pretty much the main question you'll get is, how come your skin is looking so good? Why, what are you doing? And it will usually will be, one woman to another. I tell the women that are doing peels and whatnot, if their husband notices, it's a bonus. So guys just usually aren't that perceptive at changes. Just think about when you got your hair done.
Well, yeah, you better make sure you compliment them too. It's always been my experience. We got about 30 seconds before the break. We're going to talk a little bit more about why you might do this because You got to be patient with a lot of procedures, and you're not going to look in the mirror the next day and go, wow. But you got to
But
remember
pretty
that
quickly. No, this is fun because pretty quickly, 4 weeks to 6 weeks, it's a difference, and you know it, you see it, and you're not even halfway there. So it happens pretty quickly, but it's subtle at first.
we've got more with Dr. Jonathan Tripp on the way in just a moment on Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine. Remember, life's too short not to feel good. It's 41. We're 20 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Bill Colley with you as well. And short break, and then a little bit more about the peel party that's on the way at Tripp Family Medicine. In studio with us, Dr. Jonathan Tripp from Tripp Family Medicine here in Twin Falls, Idaho. And the doctor or his associates join us on Wednesday mornings between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. We call it Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine. We were just talking about the slogan, Life's Too Short Not to Feel Good. And uh,
Today's a twist.
today's twist
Yeah,
is
the twist is life's too short not to look good.
now
And
you,
so,
you were showing me some of these magazine covers with the various models on them. And a lot of airbrushing, first of all, goes into the photographs. And a lot of the models themselves they don't eat well.
yeah,
They have had they've gone under the knife a lot. You're not talking about that kind of treatment.
right. And in fact, I want to make really clear that we are not promoting, uh, a problem with how you look. Meaning, if you think you're, I'll give anorexia as an example. People that have anorexia, it's not the body problem. It's the mental view of their body that even though they are skin and bones, they think they're fat. So at the same time, we're not trying to take people and say, you're nearly perfect, but I can make you perfecter, which is not a real word, but that's kind of the feeling. This is really about cleanup from normal aging, normal sun damage, how to really reverse time a little bit on your face, your neck, your chest, even the backs of your hands. So we're talking about things like what most people call sunspots or discolorations that have shown up over time. Um, we
Age
did.
spots, we call them,
Yeah,
right?
age
Yeah.
spots are another one, but it's the color tones that are changing. It's the large pores that we can reduce how their appearance is, the smoother skin, so there isn't the rougher texture, the fine lines, the wrinkles really nearly disappear. Now, the really deep wrinkles, they have a different name for them called rugae, and that I would say. And now we got to talk about fillers. And to give you my background, the chemical peel side of this, or what's called microresurfacing or microdermabrasion, I have over 15 years experience in this. So this is something that is not new to me. In fact, it's fun because I can look at somebody's face and pretty well tell them what to expect. That's what the consultations are all about. But there's also Botox, there's fillers. These are things that I have over 10 years experience in. So these are not new to Tripp Family Medicine. They're just when I started this practice now 5 years ago, 2 days ago. So we just had our fifth anniversary. My intent was to make this practice a family medicine practice so that it was known in the area as family medicine. So now bringing back the cosmetics in kind of a full force way, it was part of my plan because I had the experience in Phoenix where I had done cosmetics for 4 or 5 years and tried to bring back family medicine, and I was so viewed as the foo-foo doctor that my patients who liked me couldn't understand they could bring their kids for strep throat. So we did the reverse here, and so now opening up the cosmetic side, we can do this a step at a time, but with great experience and great understanding of what's out there.
People, I mentioned, a couple of pock marks on my forehead, but there are people. I was reading a story yesterday about the hockey coach, Lindy Ruff, and he was a player for many years. His face looks like a road map with all of the scars from the nicks from sticks and pucks and the like. Can you deal with people who have some of those issues too?
To some degree, especially when we're doing, let me just say the different peels that we have. Glycolic acid is probably the number one that we use because it is like the general practitioner of how to clean up your face because it will soften scars. It'll definitely make pore size appear smaller, and the skin itself is much smoother. It also creates a thickening of the underlying skin so you have better integrity. It's kind of like putting batting material under a quilt. So fine lines, wrinkles kind of disappear because it's being filled from underneath by your own collagen. So glycolic is the favorite. In fact, let me read a quick little statement. This is out of a medical journal called Medical Aesthetics, but it talks about glycolic acid, and it says glycolic acid in safety and efficacy um, is is the smallest hydroxy acid molecule, and that acid penetrates deeply, providing a wide range of cutaneous benefits, some of which I just talked about. But you know, when there's strength but not overkill needed to make the appearance of the skin change with minimal or no downtime, glycolic is the workhorse, and so that's the one that we probably do the most. But there's others like salicylic acid that's the best for acne. Malic acid is probably the best for treatment of uneven skin tones and colors. There's pyruvic acid and Jesner's, both have a combination of effects. And then there's what's called a TCA or trichloroacetic acid peel. This is the one that people know about because when you do a TCA peel, your face is going to shed. You're going to be the peeling snake skin for about 10 days to 2 weeks. This is a harsh peel and has dramatically awesome results, but not too many people want to go through 2 weeks of that kind of downtime. They love their skin after, but the trip is kind of hard. So we also have one that's called a TCA light that you'll get a little bit of peeling. It's more aggressive than the others, but so we have a wide variety of what we can do. Most of the time, we're doing things like the glycolic acid peel that you get red, maybe pink for a couple hours, maybe the rest of the day. But by the next day, you don't have anything that anybody else can look at your face and say, "Oh, I see, you're doing some kind of procedure." And that's the fun of what we do. This is really I used to joke and call myself a superficial guy and, our superficial doctor because we're just doing surfacey things. We're not doing dramatic. We're not changing body contours. I want you to do that by exercise and diet, like anything else I'd want you to do to reduce your cholesterol and your blood pressure and your diabetes. So we are keeping health at the forefront of this because any of this does not make you live longer, but it sure works and it's a lot of fun. So this is uh, this is our kickoff to say, hey, you have a clinic, a doctor, a physician-driven practice that offers the kind of cosmetic things that you often turn to a spa for. But I got to say one more thing about that. The difference between going to your general spa that's run primarily by estheticians, not that they're not great. That's who I worked with all the time in Phoenix. It's just that they are limited by law as the level of what they can do. And so where they may say, "Hey, I do glycolic acid, or I do salicylic acid peels," their level is beneath where we start. So they can give you some benefit, maybe even prep you, and then you bump up to where we are. But we can do that with just a daily kit that's easy to do. It's super simple stuff. Um, this peel party, we're bringing in some what I'll call master trainers for teaching with our staff as well as our patients that are at this peel party. They're coming in from the East Coast. This is big company stuff. Glytone is the peel company. Their parent company is called Pierre Fabre, one of the largest cosmetic companies in the world. And so this is big time stuff in Twin Falls. This comes from my practice, in Texas and on also the Phoenix area. So these are things that I easily and well competed against big names of plastic surgeons in Scottsdale. So this is not small time stuff, but it's our town, and you won't feel like you're in a high pressure situation.
Wanted to point out we're about 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock. We're at 43. Dr. Jonathan Tripp in studio with us from Tripp Family Medicine here in Twin Falls. Bill Colley with you as well. Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine. Telephone number 736-0300 if you have a question about skincare. When people are done and they go through the process and they look in the mirror and they go, wow, this looks great, then what do they have to do? Do they have to
Is there
follow a
maintenance?
specific, right?
Yeah. No, just like it takes time for your skin to get in trouble, it takes some time to get it out of trouble. And you can quit because there's no reason you can't, or you can try to maintain it, which you will if you kind of follow what we're doing. So let me tell you the process on a typical. I mentioned glycolic acid because it is the workhorse. Let's say you're 45 and you say, I'm not ready to believe I'm working my way farther towards 50 or 60. Um, if you will do a daily kit, which is by Glytone, which is really simple, it's a wash and a lotion at night in the morning, and a wash and a different lotion at night. So it's 3 steps. It is really easy and it's inexpensive compared to most cosmetic lines. So if you do that as a prep, and then we do peels really about every 2 or 3 weeks for several peels. Then we bump out to about once a month for several. And by the time you get to six, sometimes as many as 10 peels, you've hit the maximum rejuvenation that you're going to get. And we can identify that, by your skin's reaction, how you feel during the peel. And once you hit that maintenance, or hit that position. I call it the breakthrough because you know you're there. You feel it in the peel, you can see it in your skin. Now you're at your maximum ability for that type of treatment. So now you do a peel about every 2 months, and that's your maintenance. So you do your daily kit at home and do about a peel every 2 months, and it is easy stuff. It's kind of, if you've ever gone and gotten a facial, it's a lot like that, except this one really makes a difference. A facial feels good, cleans your skin. There's all kinds of good reasons for relaxation of a facial. You have kind of a similar facial experience, but within 2 days, you're already seeing a difference in your skin.
I sent you an email response this morning. I happened to be getting ready for work, and I was watching a discussion on Fox and Friends health segment, and they were talking about people who sleep on cotton pillowcases and saying that that can dry out the face. And there's a recommendation now, try silk, saying that it will help keep your skin more toned and younger looking. Uh, some of the latest research, I guess, that's being published. Now, a lot of people out there are thinking, I don't know that I'm going to go that far, but
Yeah.
it tells you that there are certain things you should avoid.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'd say everybody get rid of your cotton pillowcases, but silk by its nature is a finer weave. It has less abrasion and less absorption. Cotton is a great absorber, so if you have oils on your skin, the cotton's going to absorb it better. So in a way, you could say, okay, it wicks away the moisture of your face. But if you live in a dry climate, which we do in a high desert, I think the pillowcase is the least of the worries. It's more about what are we doing to replace that moisture, and lots of good ideas. I have everything from as inexpensive as olive oil to really, I won't say expensive, but higher cost moisturizers that are made specifically for very, very sensitive skin.
So maybe once a day, if you apply some of these things to your skin, you don't have to worry about what your face is contacting when you're
Right.
sleeping.
Yeah. As long as you're not sleeping on sandpaper, we're probably okay.
Right, emery cloth
Uh,
wouldn't
uh,
be a very good idea.
on the other hand, that might be a great exfoliator. I'm not sure it'll last very long, but yeah. No, that's there's a lot of fun to be had here. So, if somebody has a question they want to ask, I'd be happy to take any calls. But let me kind of go through what to expect. If somebody is in their 20s or 30s, I'm not going to make them look 10 years younger. I'm not going to make them look 12. Um, but what they can expect is their skin will be much smoother. It'll be shiny but not oily. This is fun. This is like a sheen that really kind of stands out. In fact, imagine a 10-year-old skin. It has a certain shine to it, but it's not oily, it's not greasy, and it's very smooth. That's how at least the cheeks and parts of the face will get on anybody that does this kind of program. So the 20 and 30-year-olds should expect the smooth, the shiny, and minimizing acne. That's one of the great things about this. Even down to 12-year-olds, I use this same daily kit to help with acne. It's what I use on my own kids. It's what I use now as my primary treatment for acne. Get lots of prescriptions, but this is very safe. It's old, it's understood. This is not new technology, except for I will say one thing that Glytone has created a technology that allows the acid to penetrate the skin before it starts to work so that most of your effect is deeper in without all the irritation on the surface. So I love that. That is very different from other peels where you get most of the irritation at the surface. So, and if you're 40 plus, you're looking for, excuse me, some of those same the smooth, the shiny, the sheen, I'll call it. If you have a tendency for recurrent acne, especially we'll talk about hormonal acne showing up at the angle of the jaw, pretty common there near the chin. That really cleans up. It does not cure it, but minimizes it. But you really will look 3, 5, 10 years younger in a matter of 6 weeks to 6 months, depending on what we're doing and where you are. So it's really that's why I like this because these are old, tried and true things that work and are not threatening and they're relatively inexpensive. So that's a lot of the fun. So if you're interested, you want to be part of this peel party with the national trainers coming in with us. That's next week, but you got to call and reserve that because it costs $100 just to be part of this party, which will pay for the peel you choose after your consultation because we'll do one that night. And we'd like to have you on a 1 week pre-peel treatment plan that we'd get to you today or tomorrow so that you'd be really ready to go for that event. So if you're thinking about doing that, call our office, 208 933 4400, 933 4400, and get in because I know there's only really a few slots left. We only are taking 30 people at this, and they're going to go, we're only going to have 3 at a time coming in, so it's not going to be a gang. And it's exciting to see the response we've had. We already have probably half a dozen or 10 people that are saying, I want to know when you're doing another one because I can't come that day. So it's fun.
Going to keep you in business for a long time
I
if you
hope
keep
so.
doing these.
No, this is the fun side. It is what I call medicine light. I recognize that this is not, the life-saving ER type of situation, but this is awesome
When
stuff.
you look better, you feel better.
Yeah, you
That's
do.
that's very true.
Yep.
We'll probably see you maybe in a week.
Yep. I think I'm back next week as well.
Dr. Jonathan Tripp from Tripp Family Medicine. Just a quick note: news is coming up next from Fox, and then Brian Zollinger, a member of the State House of Representatives, will talk to us about the veto of the governor's veto rather of the grocery tax repeal bill, and then we'll have the Democrats' response too as well later in the hour. Just a quick note: our friends at Waddell and Reed have been in business investing money since 1937, one of the oldest firms to offer mutual funds, owning, in fact, two mutual fund families that they manage. These are people who know what they're doing, as evidenced by 8 decades in business. They're going to try to help you build proper expectations, knowing that each and every one of you has different needs and goals. Waddell and Reed helps people manage money, and at Waddell and Reed, they take planning personally.